Very beginning, I remember I hired TaskRabbits all over the city to stand outside nail salons and literally count at certain times of the day the amount of people that went in and out of the nail salons, and that's how I built my first model.
Walking down the street, thinking about her exit, breaking down the steps so every founder gets it. She's the exit whisperer, she's opening the door. It started with a whisper, now that whisper's gonna roar. She just sold her company, and here you get the real story. Shh. You could be next. Walking down the street, thinking about her exit.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Kerpen, and welcome back to another episode of The Exit Whisperer. I am your resident host of The Exit Whisperer and fellow exited female founder. And today, I get to talk to one of my fantastic friends, Rachel Glass. Rachel Glass built and sold GlossLab. Now, the story is actually really interesting in that she went off to the races, okay? She really wanted to build a thing. She came from a finance background, she raised big money, go, go, go. And then suddenly things needed to pivot a bit. And when you need to pivot, you have to make quick choices sometimes. And so when you hear a story like this, you have to think about how do you find an end that allows you to end with grace and start the next thing. And I think that's what you're going to hear about here. This is somebody who raised funds, a lot of funds, had an outcome that wasn't necessarily what her investors initially expected. And then she went right back out and did it again. And I couldn't be prouder of her and her journey and some of the lessons she has for all of you. Check it out. Here's Rachel Glass. Rachel, welcome to the show.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
I am thrilled to have you. Thrilled. And I want to talk about the start of this business because I remember when GlossLab began, I looked at that thing and I was like, this is the shit. This is the best. Talk to me about how you started.
Thank you. So first of all, I'm so happy to be here. My background is in finance. Mm-hmm. I worked in finance for about 10 years at a business school, and a manicure to me was always an errand. It was like an annoying part of my week. Mm-hmm. Once I had my first daughter and then my second daughter, I was like, where am I squeezing this in? There was nothing that sort of there was nothing branded, nothing that made that experience. So ultimately left the world of finance to start GlossLab and really start a brand in the nail salon space.
At what point, what was the trigger for you to say, okay, I'm leaving finance, I'm leaving this world and I'm going to do it? Was it like the undying belief in that business? Was it you were ready for a change? Was it you had kids? What brought you to that point?
I think it was a combination of a few things. It wasn't like a one day that I woke up and it was like, today's the day. Mm-hmm. I think it had been building for a while. I have always been entrepreneurial since I was a kid. So starting businesses as young as I can remember, started a business in business school. I liked finance because it sort of had this entrepreneurial aspect to it. And once I had my second daughter, I was traveling to multiple cities a month, sometimes a week. And it just felt like it was too much of doing something that I wasn't passionate enough about.
That wasn't yours.
And it wasn't mine.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So tell me about the concept and how you got it to launch.
I wish if I could start it now, all the things I know. But when I first launched it, there was so little data on this industry that in the beginning, I remember early days, it was sort of this, you have to kind of make your day of what do I do? There's no playbook. Very beginning, I remember I hired TaskRabbits all over the city to stand outside nail salons and literally count at certain times of the day the amount of people that went in and out of the nail salons. And that's how I built my first model.
Get out of here.
Scrappy. Yes. To get data.
You hired TaskRabbits to count the number of people that were coming in and out of the salons.
Yes, there were because it was an industry with no data.
There was no data
There
whatsoever.
was nothing. I tried to build a model or have help building a model, and there was nothing that existed. It was such a pen and paper industry previously.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what did you then do with the data that you collected?
So I then went out to investors.
Okay.
I ended up bootstrapping for the first 2 locations of GlossLab. I really wanted to have something before ultimately raising money from investors to show, to be like, this is the brand, this is the data, this is what we know, this is our customer, really to have something. I think that was a huge advantage. It's not always possible to do it in that direction, but I did.
So when you started the first 2 locations, did you buy an existing nail salon, or you literally started from scratch? I'm going to lease this space. I'm going to build it out.
Literally started from scratch.
Because you were doing this all differently anyway.
I was doing it all differently.
Yes.
So it was interesting, actually, when we were looking at locations, existing nail salons didn't even really make sense.
Right.
Because it was waterless, because it was so different, because we were putting in proper air venting that they didn't have. So there was no difference between an existing nail salon and not.
So it wouldn't make sense. It's just you fully built out the first
Fully built out. But built out scrappy. Like everything I did was scrappy. Like how can we get this to look amazing but spend as little as possible?
Wow. Okay, so you bootstrapped those first 2. Talk about the differentiator that GlossLab was as compared to other salons.
It was really treating a manicure like, I hate to say like an errand, but it was a branded experience. Mm-hmm. So I often would talk about SoulCycle in the early days that you go and you know what you're getting. Like, the polishes are great and they've been vetted. The technicians are trained. You know what the polish well looks like. It's this very branded experience as opposed to a very fragmented market where each place is different. The hygiene standards are different. I'm super focused on hygiene. I'm a germaphobe, so this was like number 1. The pedicures were waterless, which was new at the time, and I think is actually still not the norm. It should be the norm. Yeah, don't get me started talking about it, but it should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that this was started as a germaphobe. Yeah. I actually think that makes so much sense to me.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so you build out the first 2. How does it go?
It was hard. It was hard. It was a lot of, I don't have an operating background, so a lot of learning about operating, a lot of learning about customers and customer feedback. But it was so helpful in sort of forming everything that came next.
So then when you get the 2 locations built up, now you're ready to raise. How was that experience?
I was ready to raise and then COVID happened. So that was, good and bad. I mean, it was good. We only had 2 locations, I guess. And I think in some ways it actually resonated more after COVID because prior to COVID, I was like the weird germaphobe. And then after COVID, everybody was a germaphobe. So it really resonated that like, this is clean, this is sterile, this is hygienic. All those pieces of the business really resonated. So did our actually big fundraise right after COVID. So end of 2020, early 2021 to expand.
So you used that part of the business to actually accelerate that fundraise in a way.
Yes. And real estate opportunities were much better.
Yes.
Who was opening? Yeah. Who was opening
anything?
Yes.
But you were.
Yes. So there were some opportunities there for sure.
Okay. So you do a round, you raise your first bit of what you needed to do. And then what was the plan from there? The
plan was to open, we ultimately got to 20 locations in total in 4 cities, launched a line of products, so really to grow the brand from there.
And at what point does it, obviously when you're building a business, it's challenging the whole way.
Yeah.
But were there challenges that started to feel like insurmountable that said to you like, okay, maybe, we need to change paths or anything along those lines?
Yeah, I think there were a few things. I think part of raising capital is having a lot more people at the table, which is so great in so many ways. But also in this case, there was a lot of pressure to grow very fast. From, like you have this capital, it shouldn't be sitting there. It should be like, let's grow. And we did. We grew fast. And when I look back, too fast, like too many locations, too quickly, too many locations in different cities. Also starting a product line, I almost think going slow to then go fast when I look at it in hindsight.
What do you think you would have gone slow? Like what would you have done differently? If you were waving a wand and you're there and you're doing it again?
I would have opened in one city first.
And really like capture
and really capture the market instead of going multiple at once. At the time, we were building a brand. We weren't building a local nail salon. So it made sense to open across multiple cities to really build a brand.
Yeah.
One of many things. There's a lot of things. When I look back, I would have done this, but It's always easy to go in that direction.
At what point do you see that like maybe something needs to change?
Despite raising capital, everything was still very scrappy. So how we were doing things, it was a lean team. We opened across cities, but still had a really small core operating team. And that got hard to operate as a small operating team across multiple cities. And in a four-wall, really customer-first model where you need more it was just sort of more and more people. We decided to pivot to a franchise model because that felt like it was just an easier way to grow and scale and have local operators.
Totally makes sense. So you go from, instead of just all owned and operated, you're going to franchise this out and see, and that will help you, I would think, in theory.
Franchising is a completely different business. It came with its own set of new business.
It's a whole new business model. It changes a lot. Franchising is really, really hard. I definitely have entertained franchising in a couple of the businesses that we've had. And I haven't gone in the direction because it is really like a whole different
It's hard, and
model.
It's sort of it's great in so many ways, but it's a loss of control in a lot of ways.
It's a loss of control, and the reason I totally get that strategy for GlossLab is because GlossLab was a brand. Like, it really, the strength was that brand and what you offered, and the just the experience of it was really, really different. And so you would think that that's something that people would really want to latch onto as franchise.
Yes. Yeah. And people did. Like, we really started it almost organically because people came to us.
Right. I'm sure.
Can we open a GlossLab? I want to open a GlossLab.
Yep. So you make that switch, and ultimately, looking back, is that a switch that was a good one for you, or is it a switch that you would have done differently?
I think it's a switch that I wouldn't say it was good or bad. I think I would have done it differently because I think it does make a lot of sense for this model. I think I just would have done it differently as far as timing and sort of how we were approaching it.
Okay, so I would imagine that franchising as a whole new thing, it just was a whole new set of opportunities, but a whole new set of challenges too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So did you have to pivot? Like, give me the real, like, what happens?
So we had to pivot, and I had an amazing network of very, very supportive investors from day one, and investors from, I like to say it was like a great party of investors, sort of investors from all walks of life. And I really saw how much they, for the most part, rallied behind me, despite when things got very tough.
Yeah, because it sounds like it was no longer working for you, and you needed to find a pivot that worked. And having, talking to your investors about that is probably the best first place to start.
Yes.
Yeah.
The best and hardest, though, too.
Yes, right.
It was.
Right.
Yeah.
It must have been very challenging.
Yes.
So how did you navigate those conversations when it's no longer working the way it should, and you have to pivot, you have to do all of it? How do you navigate that?
Yeah. They were hard conversations.
How much did you raise? Can I ask you how much you raised?
We ultimately raised over $20 million.
Okay.
In total, over several rounds.
These are big conversations.
These are big conversations. And my background is in hedge fund fundraising.
Yep.
So I go back to my hedge fund days where I always felt like if there was bad news, bad performance, I would always take the approach of calling investors like ahead of it coming out in the news or in email or anything, because I always felt like that always was like the best approach. And I did that here. It's different, of course, because this was mine. It was my company. It was me. I felt all of sort of the blame and the fault
you felt the responsibility
and the vulnerability.
And the whole thing.
Yes. So it was hard, but I felt like it was the only way. Like, it wasn't there couldn't have been a way to hide behind it.
Hold up, you guys. Like, if you hear the grit that goes into this type of business building, when you're raising funds and you're like, your entire everything is in this business, like you're listening to with Rachel, these are the types of things that happen where we lose sight of investing outside of our businesses too, and taking a truly holistic look at our wealth management. Why? Because our businesses become all-consuming, and because this is really hard. That's why I am so proud to partner with Theory Planning Partners. Caitlin and her incredible team have built a financial wealth management model that exists so that we can take a holistic approach to wealth management, not just the assets you have invested, not just your business, not just your real estate, not just your emotional well-being, but all of it all together. When you have a partner that is truly invested in your long-term goals and dreams, that is where your attachment to your business that you're sitting here like really sometimes feeling like you're drowning in, I don't know, guys, that's where it really comes together. For me, when I'm listening to this episode, I'm hearing it takes your whole world to build a business, but your business can't be your whole world. Give Theory Planning Partners a call today over at theoryplanning.com and make sure that you reach out and tell them you heard about them through the Whisper Group. How did going through that process of having to navigate investors and all of these challenges, you raise this money, differ from when you work in an equally high pressure environment of the hedge fund and working on fundraising in a hedge fund? Like when it's your own.
It's couldn't be more different. Like the emotional connection is so real. It's not healthy. Like I have 2 children, but this was like a child. So it was depressing. It was vulnerable. It was like awful. Like it was the lowest of low. Yeah, when I was at a hedge fund and had to call someone with bad performance numbers, like that sucked. But like that was
not the same.
I would take that all day.
It's not linked to your
not
identity.
Yes,
it's not linked.
This
to
was exactly
This is you.
Yes,
that must have been paralyzing.
It was. Yeah.
So what ultimately happens?
So ultimately, one of my investors, he acquired the IP of the brand, and he brought in a new team to really take the brand forward in products in a different space. He loved the GlossLab name, the GlossLab brand, and that was sort of the I don't want to say the end, the new beginning.
The new beginning
the
for
new
you.
Beginning. Yes.
But okay, got it. So it sounds like one of the investors stepped up. That's great. You now, even though this was horrible and hard and all the things, you are now able to start a new chapter.
Yes.
Did that happen immediately for you, or did you need like a little healing time? Like, what was the time between when were you able to start really thinking about who is Rachel if Rachel is not the founder and CEO of GlossLab?
It took a while to remove my identity from GlossLab because they were sort of like together.
Yes.
When I started it.
Yes.
And it's still a process.
Yes.
It's weird.
You're like someone who is the star of a sitcom, and then like after they're going into their next thing, they're always still identified with the sitcom too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that's
Yes.
Rachel from Friends.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
Like she's always
Yes.
Rachel from
Yes.
Friends. She's had
Yes.
an amazing career since.
Yes.
But she's Rachel
from Friends. Totally.
You're Rachel from
Right.
GlossLab.
Oh my
like
God.
it's that same
Yes.
experience. So how did you? And I knew that would take time anyway. Like
Yes.
as part of the way this process went. But how did you, the person, untangle or at least leave yourself open to be more than that?
Yeah. I sort of had to go back to my core. And at my core, I'm a founder. I'm an entrepreneur. I love building brands.
Yep.
Like I built GlossLab
Yep.
and like I've built others. So I had to go back to that and push forward, like push through. This was the hardest thing I've ever been through, personally, professionally, and take that and say like, what's next? And can I do this? And can I look at this? That this was sort of like trust the process, trust the path, and I'm doing it now. And I look back and like everything I'm doing now is just informed by everything I learned.
I was
from
going to
GlossLab.
ask. I was just going to ask you that. Like, if looking back, is it something? If you had to do it again, would you have done it again?
I would have done it again.
You would have done it again.
I wish I could do it again.
I know.
because it would be so different.
Isn't it amazing how difficult these journeys are? And that we would all do it again. In fact, we do it again.
We do it
In
again.
fact, yeah, we do it
Yes.
again and again and again. It is the archetype of an entrepreneur and who you are, even though it is so painful when things don't go.
Yes.
It's still like it's ingrained in you in that way. It's
like it's sort of like, I look at it like everything is hard. It's harder. This is so hard. Starting a new company is so hard. For me, working for someone else, working for a company would be torture.
Would be harder.
Would be harder.
Harder. Right.
Easier.
Pick your
Easier,
hard.
but harder. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So when did this transaction occur?
This transaction occurred in early 2025.
Okay. So early 2025. And then you start thinking about, I'm sure you're going through the whole process of like healing and all of that. And you're thinking about what's next.
Yeah.
So what's next?
So what's next? I always, with GlossLab, we did launch a line of products. We were so focused on the time at Four Wall that I felt like the products kind of took a separate seat.
Yep.
But I loved that side of the business.
Yes.
It was just something I really connected to. And that's something that I've been working on for the past year plus.
It's so great.
And have some great partners, about to launch our first of the new products. It's a product called Balm. It's a sort of new take on petroleum jelly.
I love this. You like made Aquaphor cool. Not to say like it's like a cool, right. It's like a branded cool.
It's amazing.
Ugh.
I'm partnered with a dermatologist.
Okay.
He's unbelievable.
Okay.
And for his whole career, he said, like, put Vaseline and a Band-Aid on it to solve everything. This is a brand new formula. So it's sort of like petroleum jelly plus, and designed to be really your final step of skincare. So the way I use it is I do my skincare routine at night.
Yep.
You know, the age where it's like retinol and
all the things.
moisturizer,
Yep.
all the things.
Yep.
I'm pretty simple, quite honestly, but like the important things. And then this goes on top. It holds it all.
It's like a
in.
sealant.
It's
It
sealant.
completely like
Exactly.
seals you in. I
Exactly.
love that.
Sometimes it's all over my face. Sometimes it's just my neck and my eyes. It's something I've used always and felt like it could be better.
Do you envision that this will be a product that you will do like D2C, or will you be in retail? Like, what is your vision for this product?
We're doing everything. Initially D2C, really focused on dermatologist channels because we have a dermatologist as a founding partner.
Great.
And really believe that that's where, you know, it's skincare. It's what works. It's amazing. So starting with D2C, but really heavily focused.
And are you raising for the business?
I'm raising
You're
for the business.
raising for the business. This is
Yes.
what I want people to realize. Like the fortitude that one has. Like you go out and you raise and like you have this very fast run that's like can be a struggle and like has the endings that aren't always the ideal outcome of what you would want. And then you just get right up and you do it again. Like
Yes.
that is so incredible that you're doing that.
Thank
so
you.
you're going,
Thank
I
you.
just really want to honor that for
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
I never had the guts to do what you do. I have guts, I do, but like the raise, like I was always too afraid. And I get that you come from a finance background, so it's like you're in that world in that way. But I think it's very brave. Like I think it's brave to go and say to people like, I need you to bet on me. Here's my models. Let's go. And then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And then you go again. Like, and they know, you know, it's all like a calculated
Yes.
bet. But
Yeah.
I'm so.
But it's scary. It's
scary.
scarier
I know.
the second time. Like it
Tell
really
me why.
is.
Tell me why.
I think for a couple of reasons. I think it's easier in that I feel so much that I know so much more of what I'm doing and what I'm not doing this time. Like mostly I know that like do nots, which is really big. It was harder because I did go to a lot of my former GlossLab investors and said, I didn't want to not tell you about what I'm working on now.
Right.
And that was a weird conversation to have.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard. Harder than the first time because I had, call it a blank slate.
Right. It was like a full blank
yes.
open. Yeah, it was like
Yes.
first.
Yes.
I mean, I get that. I also have a different take in that you were able to raise $20 million. You were able to build a business that was substantial in it. You know, you had a lot of changes and a lot of market shifts and all of that, but like you already did a thing. So like if I were looking at you and if I were like, I would bank on someone like you who has that ability and that insight and that experience, like versus the first time around. I actually love an experienced founder, but I know what you mean. And especially because you have to go back to the GlossLab investors.
Yes. I had to go back just because
it's the right thing to do.
It was the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
Even though it was the hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And several of them invested in this new thing.
Which I knew they would.
Which is amazing.
Right. Of course they would.
But, you know, it's like, it's really like just it's humbling and it's a really nice feeling because it was hard. But I also look at it and I'm like, I would only invest in a second time founder this time because there's just so many like
you don't know what you don't know.
Not that I've made all the mistakes, but I've made a lot of mistakes, and that counts for something.
When you're talking, I'm sure you get outreach from many young women that are looking to raise, that want to be just like you, that have that same spirit and all of that. What advice do you have for women who are just getting started and want to do this type of work?
It's a grind. You have to just keep going. And I know that doesn't sound very helpful, but it's just pushing through like the imposter syndrome. It's doing the work. Like if, you know, I always say it's like 3 things a day. What are 3 things that you can do today? 3 people you can outreach, people you can outreach to and say, do you have anyone else I can talk to? It's just that constant grind, constant hustle. It doesn't stop.
The work that we do is hard, right? We talked about choose your hard, right? And we talked about whether or not, you know, but working for somebody else would be harder. What do you think makes work for entrepreneurs and for you makes working for someone else harder than doing this work, which is unbelievably hard? Like what, what do you think makes it harder? Is it loss of control, freedom? What is it?
It's like a certain brand of crazy or something.
It's real.
I think you have to love it. Like love this phase of like really building something, creating something yourself.
Yeah. You have to love it.
You have to love it.
That's what
and it's not for everyone. Like
when I was listening to you, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Like you have
to love it.
To love it. You really, really do. Well, I'm so excited for the new brand.
Thank you.
So excited. And I think the world of you, and I can't wait to see what happens next for you.
Thank you.